What is up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing okay. Good to see you, Jules. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hey, what's up, Vanessa? What's up, Marlon? Jerry, what's good? Yep, I'm ready for Christmas. I am in the spirit. Hey, Rain Dancer. Anna, what's up? Hey, Evan. Come on, Brittany. French. Merry Christmas. Hi, Jennifer. Hey, Sensei. Hey, Pam. Oh, thank you. Hey, Ruby. Merry Christmas. What's up, Jackie? Timmy, hello. Hope everybody's doing okay. Got a lot on the plate today. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And just like that, we are live. Welcome to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Today we're going to kind of go way back to the beginning. We're going to kind of look at all of that information that we obsessed over early on in the case through the lens, I guess, of Richard Allen, I guess. We're going to consider everything with him in mind in today's live stream. Or maybe not even him, but what we know now. Hey, bud, happy Kwanzaa to you. Share my screen with you guys so you kind of know what I'm talking about. So the initial CMH, this person's name has been kind of thrown around quite a bit. Potential witness, I'm not quite sure yet. But when you see these images, you will know who I'm referring to. Okay. Hey, what's up, Sophia? Good to see you. Hey, small town Indiana. Hello. Happy holidays. It's good to see you again. Hope everything's going well. Okay. So I think we're going to start here. And a very early post that was circulating in regards to the person who took these images and the Delphi double homicide case. So let's take a look here. True Crime Housewife, hello. Chopper, what's up? What's going on, buddy? Hope everybody's doing well. Happy holidays. Hope you guys are all getting in the spirit. Okay, so this person says, "Hello, it's me." Two wavy hands. So apparently, this is right after people kind of started. I would say the case started gaining steam on social media, kind of like the Idaho murders are right now. The Delphi case kind of became that way. You had online sleuths looking into all these people, and this person, you can refer to her as CMH or maybe CM might be easier. Hey, Kelly. Oh, it's vacation time coming up. Everybody's taking that vacation, counting the hours. So let's read this early comment. She actually makes a funny. It kind of makes me chuckle. And the only reason I don't think she has anything to do with the crime, she literally went home and uploaded the photos. You don't go participate in a crime. Now, did she know something after the fact? That's a different story. But you don't knowingly participate in a crime and then upload the photos you took while you were there to Facebook. All right. You just don't do it, guys. That's not something a guilty person would do, especially if some of the people involved in the crime could be captured in those photos. Now, she could have captured images hidden in those photos unknowingly. She may not have known that they were there. She could have just been simply taking an image, and then down below, people say they see people in the images, whatever. That's a whole different story. All right. So she says, "Hello, it's me." Wait while waving, like, "Hello, over here. Are you looking for me?" First off, my initial response is, "Why didn't you message me? You clearly have my entire name, so I'm pretty positive that you would have found a CM." So basically, she's saying, "Well, I'm seeing my name all over the internet. But thanks to you, I have everyone and their brother in my inbox acting like McGruff the crime dog." Every time I read that, it makes me laugh. McGruff. Some of you might be too young to know who that is. He's good friends with Smokey the Bear. All right. Secondly, I did report my findings to the police station as soon as I heard the news. 2 weeks later, a detective came and spoke with me for a lengthy amount of time. I showed him the pictures I took and explained what I saw. I described my car and other vehicles around me, plus other information that is none of anybody's concern, of anyone's concern. So what does she mean there? Plus other information that is none of anyone's concern. So is this possibly the part where she's an eyewitness, maybe? He has my contact information and is able to use that to his advantage. I did think that was a strange word to use, advantage. But then again, I'm illiterate, so. Third, how is my pictures weird? I'm an avid hiker and nature enthusiast. I enjoy architecture and other outdoor photography. I am in love with the outdoors. Like, what you mean, bro? I'm that old. Me too. Me too. Take a bite out of crime. Yeah, that was even before Dare, I think. Going to put a show on TV so I can use my phone. 2 week turnaround time. Apparently, that's up to standards. Possible witness and was told to keep quiet. Maybe, yeah, because she's like, I can tell you all this other stuff, but I can't tell you that I actually saw this guy. Because according to her timeline, originally she took these photos. I think what you guys can correct me, but I think like 3:15, and uploaded them when she was leaving there at like close to 4. So if she's leaving there close to 4, imagine what she's seen with us now knowing that Richard Allen was leaving right around 4 o'clock. And it's just all so weird, why are they looking for the driver of a vehicle? And why even say driver? To me, when they say driver, that means that there's 2 people in the vehicle, or at least 2, maybe more, you know? But they got a good look at the passenger. They already know who that is. Now we need the driver. What's up, bud? You remember what date stands for, right, sleuth? Dare, you mean? Drugs are really expensive. That's funny. All right, let's finish this one up here. And referencing why I was there that day when I should be at work is completely closed minded. Not everyone works a factory job or even an office job. That just so happened to be a warmer day, true. And I was off work and went to enjoy it. Also, your story is false about who was there. Okay, so I think they're questioning her in regards to DP. I think that's what this is all, just to give you a little reference there or context better. Um, Also, your story is false about who was there. So she didn't see him, but that doesn't mean she didn't see anybody. Check this out. There or what I seen. I wasn't alone. I had my best friend who happens to be a female with me. There was another heterosexual couple there. Who was that? Who was this couple? If it's not, the whole DP thing. And she says, wait, before you dig into the situation, so hold off. They also have spoke with the detective already, well before I did. Hmm. That sounds like somebody we know. Who'd they speak to? Conservation officer? Park ranger, maybe? All right. So now we're going to move on to Cats, a quick little clip of Cats video. Ooh, let me load it on over here. No, I guess I'll just put it on the screen. Okay, there it is. The legend himself, Michael J. Cat. Rest in peace. This was some great journalism done here by Cat. He was able to ask the right questions at the right time during the right circumstances, and he got the perfect answer from the perfect person to give that answer. Let's take a look here. Michael's asking him, what's going on with the investigation? How come nothing has come through?
It's one of those situations where we got a case that this person's never apparently committed a crime before.
Okay. Now, how would they know that this person has possibly never committed a crime before? To me, that says DNA and fingerprints. What do you guys think about that? DNA and fingerprints. I mean, what else are you tracking? Could it have been the unspent casing? Was there if there was a fingerprint on there, it would have been Richard Allen's, right? Yeah, I watch Bruiser has some really good videos on Delphi. They're still up, so if you guys want to, maybe we'll spend a night watching all those videos. Some Cat and Bruiser. Yeah, they have some good stuff. All right, let me keep playing this one.
You would feel that he had never committed a crime. He has no
POTUS,
DNA.
thank you, Jules.
Well, I can't comment on that.
Okay, I interrupted. Hold on.
Apparently committed a crime before.
You would feel that he had never committed a crime. He has no DNA in the database.
Cat says you would feel that he had never committed a crime before, that he has no DNA in the database.
Well, I can't comment on that.
He says I can't comment on that.
But I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
But that's what it looks like. So he can't comment on that, and then he comments.
The possibility he's done something, but we can't find any traces of it.
That was my first thought.
Traces? What leaves a trace? What leaves a trace that law enforcement can track or trace themselves? Yeah, thank you for that, Jules. Hoosier the Bruiser. Right here. This is what his logo looks like. Can you see that? It's kind of worn down. It's like one of my favorite hoodies. Yeah, I mean, Bruiser was as real as it gets. He even called me out on my shit a lot of times. I learned a lot from him. Hey, Bossy, good afternoon. Grunge Truck, what do you mean? Heading to the dog park cemetery to do some necrophonic sessions? Oh shit. Is that that sounds like ghost hunting terms. Like EVP? Necrophonic. That sounds better. Do you know a lot about that? I might need to talk with you, dude. I don't know anything about it. I'm about to go get my Ghostbusters on. CODIS, DNA and fingerprints. I mean, and this is Kim Riley. He's since retired, but he's given us a lot of information. He came out at one point and stated, hey, we have basically a corrupt, now what was the word he used? Contaminated crime scene. People spitting. He even used the word urinating. So I think there's some more details that we're not aware of yet. When this whole court proceeding comes out and media comes out and puts out their tweets, we're going to just have all kinds of information. We might have an explanation of what happened and why they took their time and why they changed their direction also. They really haven't explained it. They're like, yeah, we got this young guy sketch that was drawn on the 17th. And we have that article now. Derek Farmer posted something in the Discord, and it had the link to the article in the image. So we were able to pull that. I have it. We're going to look at it. We're not going to read the whole thing. A lot of it is just regurgitated stuff, but we're going to go directly to the part where they talk about the sketch artist. And That'll be a little bit later in the live stream. First, we're going to talk about this video here. Then we're going to pull up a video by John Douglas. He gives his opinion on the case, gives his opinion on the new direction presser, and he says some very interesting things that he was 100% spot on, by the way. We're going to talk about that. We're going to jump into Brad Heath. We're going to pull some quotes that I have here from Gray Hughes' interview. Shout out to Gray Hughes. Got a great interview by this guy, asking very specific questions. I thought he did a great job on that. We'll read those quotes. And then also, one of the quotes is older vehicle, reminding him of a man, fishing. I don't know if you remember those days going with your grandpa, pulling up to the lake or the creek, and it's like an old beat up truck or station wagon or something. That's what I thought of. So we're going to go through a whole bunch of those images and see if we're on the same page with that. Then we'll jump into the sketch artist, and then we'll start closing out with the man in black. We had some videos that we were covering early on in the case. Now we know it as a fact. It's in the probable cause affidavit for Richard Allen. And then just some random videos that I don't think you guys have ever seen, that I haven't shared, that they seem a little more interesting now. Fibers, hair, gunshot residue. Okay, fibers. Okay, now you're talking, Vanessa. You can, I guess you could trace, no trace. Can you trace fibers, though? I guess you could. Even soil. I know you can compare those things.
I thought anybody at that age that would commit a crime like that would have priors.
Yeah, you never know.
Kat asked him, you would think somebody that committed this kind of crime would have had priors. And this is Kim's response.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. I don't believe that. I mean, you got to get sloppy somewhere. Maybe.
I'm not the jury. All we do is collect evidence.
No, right, but that's why I was just wondering if there was anything that you could share upon.
Not at this point in time.
Okay.
But appreciate you asking.
I am keeping my eyes on it, as hard as I can. Thank you.
All right. And then Kat left some comments. We'll read that before we move on. He says here, after this interview with Indiana State Police Trooper Kim Riley, right after the first year press conference, I made a video saying that I then felt that Carroll County had fingerprints as well as DNA of the suspect. So his interpretation of this interview is that they do have fingerprints or DNA. And that's what I'm thinking as well. I then stated that a man of that age to commit such a crime would seem to have done prior crimes of that nature. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? So if they have DNA and fingerprints and it has nothing to do with Richard Allen, because they didn't put that information in his probable cause affidavit, but then again, they don't have to put everything in the PCA, right? But you think they would, just for the public, like, look, we got, it's slam dunk, we got his fingerprints. But if they don't have it, but they have his shell casing that they can scientifically, prove that came from his weapon, that means that the fingerprints and DNA came from somebody else. And that could be the reason why they believe somebody else was involved, right? That could be a possibility. Charlie Murphy. Fibers have unique characteristics like the dye that was used in density when placed under the light source. But can you trace fibers? Like, is there a database where you can put in the fiber and it'll, you can track it? I'm sure you can pull data of where it's located and who sells it and where it's made and things like that. but how could you trace it? You would almost, I guess, you would have to personally trace it, right? Yeah, I mean, they could mean fibers. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. That's all. All right. Now, this interview here with John Douglas, this is a quote, should have been solved quickly. Now, listen to the reasons he states that.
Douglas, John, thanks for coming in this morning. That superintendent seems determined, thinks he's close. What do you make of his strategy?
The strategy is good. He should have done the strategy a long time ago. This case really could have been a solvable case really quick. I learned over the years at Quantico and since retirement to work in these cases, you should be releasing information relative to pre-offense behavior, post-offense behavior regarding the crime.
Hey, Jack.
The tape itself, it's not an order he's giving them. It almost sounds like if it would, like a school teacher would say, guys, down the hill, or a coach, like someone who
very familiar.
Very familiar.
So he says like a coach or a teacher, but why not like a father? Somebody who has their own children. And it's almost like he was getting ready to say that, and they kind of like changed the trajectory of where he was going.
Like someone who
very familiar.
Very familiar.
Very familiar. So yeah, like a parent.
Down the hill, or a coach, like someone who
very familiar.
Very familiar. And that's the other thing, familiarity with the area.
Hey, Unsolved.
When criminals perpetrate a crime, there is a thing that we call the comfort zone, where they don't just perpetrate a crime, particularly like this one here, in an area where they've never been before. So this person has been there and feels extremely comfortable. It was the victims were low-risk victims until they decided to go out that morning in that isolated area. They increased their risk level. On the part of the offender, his risk level was pretty high because it was daylight. This was a park, it's public, and there was a really strong chance someone could have come upon him.
What kind of profile would you be building based on the information that you have, and what additional information would you need to make it more accurate?
Well, what you need is the autopsy protocol, the autopsy photographs, the method and manner of death. You do the victimology, which is important in this case. Like as I said, they're very, very low risk types of victims. So you have this information, and for an age group, I usually start off at about mid 20s to late 20s. I've seen that the Bureau came out with a range. It's way too long, from 18 years of age to 40 years of age.
So if you hear what he's saying, he's kind of giving us some internal jargon there, from the FBI, 18 to 40. And if we remember looking at the flyer for this murder case that the FBI put up, that was the age that they gave, was 18 to 40. So the only reason they did that is because it's a default age. And he kind of disagrees with that.
Age as a potential suspect. I start in the mid-20s, and I'll either tack on years or eliminate years based upon either the sophistication of the crime or the lack of sophistication.
Okay, so the age group, we have Richard Allen. He's 50. So how can we base this if we don't know if this was a sophisticated crime or not? There's still a lot of ins and outs that we don't really know
of the crime.
Let's hope we stay close on this one, John Douglas. Thanks very much.
So John Douglas says the whole guys part, he said it made him think of a coach or a teacher or somebody who was, familiar. We know Richard Allen was a father, so that fits with that profile. What's up, Rockaways? Thank you. Unsolved says, could DNA or fingerprints be why defense was recently asking the court for funding for experts? It's very possible. It could be, but I mean the analysis of the unspent cartridge, I mean, that's going to cost money right there. They got to get, get somebody to look at it microscopically. And then not only do you have to see it, but you have to be able to present it, You don't just say, here, let me take a screenshot. Here, court. You have to go through People have to verify the information. It's probably a tedious process, honestly. See, investigators identify and compare fibers physically using microscopy. I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly. As well as chemically, like hair, textile fibers are among the most common items left at a crime scene, trace evidence usually. Now, I wonder if they have a database, though. Like, let's say they find fibers and they put it in, and then they find fibers at a new crime scene. Maybe on the other side of the country, can they put that into a system where it will trace down these fibers? Say, okay, this was a rug that was specific to 1970s, and it came from Oshkosh. Okay, so let's move on. That way we don't run out of time here. All right, so this will kind of give you an idea of who Brad Heath is, and then we'll talk a little bit about his Gray Hughes interview with Brad Heath, where he provided some very detailed information about a completely different recollection of a vehicle parked near the CPS building. But let's watch this video first.
Brad, because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
Things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get.
Okay, so we always thought, because the person who drew the Young sketch says, here, let me pull up that article real quick as well. So Brad Heath says, well, I saw something, so I thought I should, I felt that I needed to say something about it. So I brought a few things to law enforcement. Okay. So here in this Indy Star article, Indy Star, it's titled Delphi Murders New Sketch of Killer. Video from Libby's phone released. It's by Vic Reichardt and Justin L. Mack with Indy Star. And they published this April 22nd, 2019. So right after the presser, the New Direction presser. Here it says the sketch released on Monday was drawn by Bryant on February 17th. So that's just a few days after the crime. The picture was based on the description of a person who saw something that the person felt needed to be reported. So that sounded a lot like what Brad Heath stated. All right, let me share this with you guys. Sorry about that. So once again, this is from the Indy Star, Vic Reichardt and Justin L. Mack, published April 22nd, 2019, right after the New Direction presser. I'll read it one more time. The sketch released on Monday was drawn by Bryant on February 17th, 2017, a few days after the victims' bodies were found. So this was something that they had on by the 17th. So they had the young person sketch from the very, very beginning. Okay, so if they're changing directions, how is this younger person now, who wasn't part of all of this, now suddenly part of the crime? And we know they didn't have the Hoosier Harvest Store video when they served Ron Logan's search warrant, because they don't make a correct, they don't have a correct timeline. They say the girls were dropped off at 1, but we now know that because of the Hoosier Harvest Store video, it was more like 1:49, like precisely. That's almost an hour off. So it's obvious they didn't have that footage. So maybe they were able to now gain access to that footage, or were able to, maybe somebody finally, I'm not, I don't know how they got that footage or why they waited, but we know they didn't have it. Why would they give the incorrect time frame if they did, knowing that the girls were dropped off at 1:49? They wouldn't say at 1. So I'm going to take that they did not have that footage yet. So that could be the new direction. But that's just my opinion on that. Well, there we go. February 17th, 2017. Source is the Indy Star. Shout out to Derek Farmer for pinpointing that. A lot of people have been looking for this article. I made a video, like one of my first, might have been my second video on YouTube, and I referenced this. And then all of a sudden, nobody could find it. It was just like one of those things people regurgitated, but we really didn't know the source. And I said, no, it came in an article in the Indy Star, but I could never present it to anybody. CN Red Flags, hello. I know they have a database for paint chip analysis. See, that's very interesting. I wonder if, so they got to create a database. So maybe all these car companies, they're like, okay, these are the types of paints. We'll go ahead and put a sample in the database. That way they can cross-reference it. So people have to be kind of responsible in the beginning, kind of like some gun manufacturers. They'll cycle around or they'll shoot a bullet, and then they'll go ahead and put those impressions off of that bullet into the database and attach it to that serial number. Kind of like some proactive tracking. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that Brad Heath was saying. And these are quote unquote off of his interview. He said there was, here, let me pull up this image. I thought I had a better one. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Gray Hughes was talking with Brad Heath, and he was asking him very specific questions, and they narrowed down the location to where you can see where this red dot is here. He said, no, it wasn't parked over here. He said, no, it wasn't parked over here. And no, it wasn't parked like over here. It was parked right around here. And he says, from his own personal knowledge, he's seen it there from 8:45 a.m. to at least 2:07 p.m. And I quote, he described it as an older vehicle. Another quote, I could see a guy catfishing, stopping, something along the lines of that. A guy, stopping to go fishing or catfishing on the river. So he strangely used the word catfishing. The river. I had a friend. He also stated, I had a friend that works nearby, says he saw it on the other side of the bridge at 3:30, like he may have been watching. Okay, so what do you guys think of? Thank you, Francis. I appreciate your support, man. Okay, when you guys hear, and let me read the quotes. Older vehicle reminds him of a guy who stopped to go catfishing. He also stated older model car. So, I mean, if he says older model car, does that mean it's not a truck? Because I remember my grandfather used to call everything a car. Get in the car. It's a truck, Grandpa. It's a car. So I don't know. And who goes fishing in a car? You don't go fishing in a car. You go fishing in a truck or a station wagon, right? Yeah, the Rockaway, I don't think he's part of the PCA. I think that they discounted whatever vehicle he says. They may have located that person and it may not be involved. The Unsolved says, Sleuth, you just made me think of something. If that car was parked there on CR 300 North, Kelsey would have seen that car parked there or drove past it when dropping the girls off. Yeah, she may have driven right past it. Doesn't mean she's going to remember it, though. Oh, and Rome, two things I think threw us off. In addition to law enforcement sketches, yes. Height, yes. No one locally recognized BG, so figured. Yeah, I think, oh man, I just don't know how to explain that. I do think that the video could have been misleading. I don't think that they took it serious enough. I don't think that they put out an accurate height. Because you guys seen the video I put out long ago. I said he's around 5'8", 5'9". Ends up he could be a lot shorter than that. You know, that video I put out with Paul Holes, he's listed as in between 5'8" and 5'9", and I said he's much closer to this, not Ron Logan. And then the guy gets busted, and he's, I don't know, anywhere between what, I think like 5'6" or something. I'm still not sure. 5'4", 5'6". So he was like a really short person. Charlie Murphy says, had anybody seen the girl's death certificate on Reddit, supposedly bought from Ancestry website? Details seemed a little weird. Yes, I have those. Because I was watching a video this morning. I think Randy was live. I was watching his video, and I guess he was saying that they're faked. And I was looking at them. They do look really strange. Yeah, we won't be showing those. But there's really nothing to them anyway. They basically said that the girls bled out, and it doesn't look authentic. I think we're simply missing some forensic details. We need to wait for January. Cheers. Yep, fake. Yeah, and they don't look real to me. But I have heard people like, you know, some people have been reaching out to me privately and like, oh, this is the cause of death. This is probably something that they've seen. And even if it is real, you know, that stuff right now is supposed to be silent. Real or fake, yeah. We're not going to be showing it here. Rain Dancer says, I think so much, not because I want to be the super bright one, but because maybe we find something law enforcement has not thought of. But I believe they are very smart. They have a logic chain. Well, the thing is, they can't speculate. They can't. They don't, you know, they don't have, I guess it's more of a privilege than anything, and they just can't do it. They have to follow the facts. The Unsolved says they are fake, Sleuth. The fake documents state their cause of death as themselves. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. And I didn't go through it. I just gave a brief look and I was like, yeah, these don't look real. Anne says, never understood the logic of parking at the CPS building. I think probably to hide the license plate. You know, you're away from everybody else and you're able to back into something. You can't do that at any of the other locations. You can't do that at the Mears lot, and you can't do that at the Freedom Bridge parking area. Your license plate will be exposed. Hey, TTM. Good to see you. All right. So when I heard the words older vehicle, now he did quote this, older model car, but then he quickly switched over to older vehicle. So I don't know if he was throwing the word car around as that old habit. I'm not sure. But this is what I thought of when he said older model vehicle. Reminded you of something you would see somebody, you know, pulled over and was fishing, you know, in the creek there. So this is what I was thinking of, something like this. You know, these old grandpa trucks. You know, this is what your grandpa was running around in. See, Chopper, that's a good point. And if they did, they don't have to share that information in the PCA. They can be saving that for the trial. And maybe that's where they saw this younger person in that footage. The Hoosier Harvest Store footage, I believe, is everything that fueled the new direction presser. Because we know they didn't have it during the Ron Logan search, in my opinion. Old Ford truck, maybe something like this. Older model vehicle. You know, some Mr. Miyagi shit. Yeah, I had to order the shirt as well. Right? Isn't that what you think of? Listen, I'll say it again. Older model car, older model vehicle. I could see a guy catfishing on the river, is what he stated when he was explaining the vehicle that he saw. Older model vehicle made him think of somebody pulling off the side of the road near a creek fishing. Yeah, that's true, Anne. But what would be the easiest way? And who knows? Yeah, I think there's a lot that we don't know about this conspiracy or whoever else was involved with the murder itself. But I believe it has something to do with fingerprints or DNA that was found at the location, some ties to Richard Allen and some ties to an unknown person. My question is this: would have Nick M withheld, prosecutor Nick M withheld that they have DNA in the probable? Well, I don't think that the DNA is connected to Richard Allen. So it wouldn't have been in his probable cause because that's not why they were after him. But now that he's connected to it and there's another person's DNA there, to them, they're like, okay, we got two people working together. And they've said it from the beginning. There could be more than one. What about that truck? Does that look like an old fishing truck? You did. I don't know. I mean, these are just some examples of trucks, I found online that I thought looked like old fishing trucks. Who knows? All right. Let's move on to the sketch because we're already at about an hour. Let's see. Where did I want to start here? Oh, the sketch artist. Let's learn a little bit about this person here. And we already kind of read a little bit about him. Plus, this is a very informative video.
And killers police are desperately trying to catch. In fact, we're all familiar with this Delphi sketch from the still unsolved murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. But what goes into creating these drawings? Tonight, our Jenny Runovich takes a look at how a police sketch artist helps witnesses and helps fight crime.
Things of that nature. So you want to get them to more or less trust you to do a drawing.
Then victims go through an FBI catalog, choosing facial features that match the suspects: head shape, eye shape, nose, and hair. With those set, Trooper Bryant finally starts to sketch.
Yes, you start with a grid to just give you, placement.
Checking with the witness for accuracy.
So here, let's take a look at this article one more time. We'll read the whole part about the sketches that they listed here. Just bear with me here a moment. I'm like having a little bit of technical difficulties. Oh, well, I think I have a bad cable for my camera. I'm going to have to replace that. Oh, well. All right. So back to the Indy Star article. This is the portion on the new Delphi murder sketch release. This article was put out just after the New Direction presser, I think even the same day. Thank you, Francis. Shout out to Sleuth Nation. Let's get some likes. We Sleuth United, the Sleuth, the whole Sleuth, nothing but the Sleuth. I will. That's going on a shirt officially, just for you. All right. The new sketch shared Monday depicts a man who appears. Let's pay close attention to the verbiage used here. A lot of this is quoted. The new sketch shared Monday depicts a man who appears much younger than the original sketch. Carter said the old sketch is now being considered secondary. Now we're going to stop right there. So he didn't say disregard it. He just said it's secondary. Almost like, okay, we got this guy. Now who the hell is this guy? I mean, do you think law enforcement would do that? Knowing, maybe they knew that Richard Allen wasn't like the one swinging around the weapon. He could be. This could be just him committing the murders alone. But if law enforcement thinks that there's somebody else involved and they're allowing Richard Allen to run around, even though they know he was part of this murder, did they not think that he was a threat to the community? Or did they just not know? Is it kind of naive to think that they knew? What's up, D? What's up, Zen? Good to see you guys. I didn't see you come in. Shout out to Francis supporting the channel. Thank you. And Vroom responding to red flags. I just watched a YouTube video post about 2 weeks ago. Guy walking from the crime scene through cemetery and long road to CPS. Yeah, Randy's walked that a couple times. It's really not that far. And if you time it, and if you time other people have walked it, it only takes about less than 5 minutes to walk up from the crime scene to the fence of the cemetery. I got the beard, Chopper. What's up, Frank? Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's keep going on here. So Carter's saying he's not throwing out, we were on the wrong track. He's saying it's secondary. It's right there. He's just putting one on top of the other. When I hear secondary, it means it's the one that was up front is now the one that's right behind that one. It's not like it's tossed in the trash. It went from number 1 to number 2. And when people are asking, well, what's going on with these sketches? He can't just come out and explain it. He can't give it away. So I think the Hoosier Harvest Store footage came out. Okay, they're like, there's our bridge guy. He's all covered in mud and bloody. We can pretty much see who that is. But who's this guy? Who's this other guy? Maybe the other guy is the guy in black. So we're going to talk about that too, the man in black. But we're going to finish going over this one more time. Master Trooper Taylor Bryan, a sketch artist with Indiana State Police who drew the new sketch, told Indy Star, a sketch is based on how a particular witness describes the suspect. If there are several witnesses, Bryant would draw a sketch for each description. Bryant did not draw the sketch that police released in July of 2017, which I believe is the older person. The witness is the main focus, so there's no input from law enforcement at all. So no misleading, or leading the witness, generating of a sketch, other than my presence as the artist. So Bryant uses a facial identification reference sheet, which I believe they're using. This might even be considered new technology. Facial identification reference sheet, and also they have software they can use. That has a list of different categories from head shapes to different eyebrows and noses. The person will describe the suspect based on those categories. Easier to do that than to describe the suspect using just words, Bryant said. The sketches are not exact. The renderings are a ballpark estimation of what the person looks like. Okay, the sketch released on Monday was drawn by Bryant on February 17th, 2017, a few days after the victims' bodies were found. The picture was based on the description of a person who saw something that the person felt needed to be reported. So yeah, for a long time, we thought this was going to be Brad Heath, but they both, said the same thing. And why not? They both saw something they felt needed to be reported. Police are also looking to identify the driver. Why use that word, driver? Wouldn't it be occupant? Driver of a vehicle. To me, that insinuates a passenger of a vehicle that was parked at an abandoned CPS DCS welfare building on the east side of County Road 300 North near Hoosier Heartland Highway. The vehicle was parked at the building between the hours of noon and 5 p.m. That's the vehicle that Brad Heath saw was there from 8:45 to 2:07 at least, maybe even possibly later, according to one of his friends. That Carter said the new information leads investigators to believe that the killer is from Delphi. They believe he either still lives and works in Delphi and frequently visits. Yeah, why? What makes them think that? Is it just the crime scene, the location, the victims? Let me see if I can. I'm not going to worry about it. We're almost done. So the first time we heard of a man in black was this coverage here.
Tips. Friday evening, state police hurry into the cemetery, returning to the crime scene. Undercover officers did some work and left about 20 minutes later. The same time, troopers checking out a car left at the High Bridge trailhead. Turned out to be a woman and kids out walking. Shows the high pace of police activity that'll go through the weekend, they say.
Hey, what's up, Tom?
Near sunset, up on High Bridge Trail.
I thought it was important.
We're not completely done
Chastity
yet.
Gerald knew both Libby German and Abby Williams. The girls murdered not far from here. Libby was a good friend.
She loved to swim. And she's like always nice and happy.
Still hard to believe that
What's up,
it's happened,
Jessica?
she says. Chastity was not on the trail Monday, but her friends were, and they told about a man they saw.
Yeah, they said that they had said hi.
All right, so she's referring to some of these witnesses that are listed are friends of hers.
Saw.
Yeah, they said that they had said hi and he just like brushed them off and kept going.
Did they think he was strange, out of place, or?
They said he was, but then again, it could just be a rumor.
They described him dressed in black. Meanwhile, police continued the search for this man. He would have been on the trail the same time as the girls. They say they want to talk to him about what he saw. And last night's search of a Delphi house will not lead to an arrest.
So, and it's almost like when they're talking about this, that they're almost aware that there's two separate people.
In this case, police say.
You can still feel the tension with it. Before it was peace.
So, man in black. Now let's take a look at Richard Allen's probable cause affidavit. I think this is page 2. It's just the bottom portion where they refer to these 3 juveniles here, witnesses. All right, looks like we got some people walking in. Annette, hello. Jessica, hello. Who else we got? Kelly, hello. And if I missed you, what's going on? All right. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, redacted and redacted. So I don't know if this is 2, because they say they. This might be the 2 maybe being interviewed together. And then the 3rd, I think, gives a separate account here, but I could be wrong. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, blank and blank. They advised, and I say that because the word they is used in this paragraph here. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. Redacted witness described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans, a like really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. So to me, that's like the bridge guy, right? She's describing possibly Richard Allen, who admitted to being dressed in a blue jacket and blue jeans and on the bridge. All right. The witness described the male as kind of creepy and advised he was wearing like blue jeans, a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray. So even the hair is kind of similar. Witness advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. Like, why not attack them right then and there? She recalled him being in all black, had something covering his mouth, all black. She described him as not very tall with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Witness advised he was wearing a black. Now, this is very specific. Advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. He had his hands in his pockets, showed investigators photographs she took of her phone while she was on the trail that day. So now, is this 2 juveniles, or is this... It's hard to separate the witnesses from what's being described here. Miss Dog Lover says, sounds like KK to me. Yeah, because we now know he's shorter than we thought. Good to see you. I have Apophis. Assuming the car was backed in to hide the license plate makes no sense. Why park at the CPS in the first place? If you are worried about being seen and if you are kidnapping somebody, it's not a good spot. Yeah. The whole CPS situation seems more kind of fits in. Let's say it is Richard Allen's vehicle and he's the person responsible. If you do park that way, that kind of feeds more into the lone wolf theory. If you think about it, you back in, you think you might potentially you're there for nefarious reasons, right? But you're not sure. Let me back in. And then the opportunity came and you saw the opportunity. Yeah, it could have been an opportunity. But why pass those other girls, you know? Why beeline straight to the bridge? Why pass all these other potential targets um, and go to the bridge, and then I don't know, it even seems that he crossed the bridge and waited. It's like maybe he wasn't in the right position. Maybe his plan was to go and lay wait so that he could ambush a target. Maybe they weren't even targeted specifically. Maybe he didn't attack the other girls because he wasn't in position. You know, maybe he was planning this out. Every time he goes out there to go hiking, he notices, you know, there's always some a group, maybe one or two girls that crosses all the way over into the darkness in the secluded area on the south. So maybe in his mind, he said, I'll go back there and I'll just wait. And then when I see two young girls come across, I'll strike. Sleuth, pull up the pic with the white flowers from the news. Which one's that? Red Flag says the girls were his target, in my opinion. That's what it appears to be. He got there at 1:30. The girls got there at 1:49. So he could have got there, catfished the girls, and said, "Hey, I'm at the bridge." You know, Anthony Shots. You know, meet me at the bridge. I'm there. I'll be there at 1:30. Boom. Gets there at 1:30. Gets across to the opposite side of the bridge by, I would say, maybe 2, maybe even by 2. He's already over there. And then that's when the girls come. And that's when it takes place around 2:13, I think, is when they had contact. Yeah, it definitely seems extremely targeted. But yeah, why park at the CPS building? Doesn't seem smart. Maybe he thought it was a good move, and it just, you know, we've had all this time to kind of look at the situation. We see that it wasn't a good move, but maybe at the time he thought it was. What if somebody seen him, or what if he didn't have success? What if he had to go on the run? What if he was expecting to get caught? You know? So maybe he was parking there in a strategic way just to get out of there. Maybe when he got out onto that road and realized, hey, I may have gotten away with this. Yeah, and if you remember, during the interview with Brad Heath that that I saw over on Gray Hughes' channel, he mentioned a friend. He said another quote of his was, "I have a friend that worked nearby across the street. I think it may have been at a bait. That might not be the right word, but it was across the street from the CPS building." And he says that a buddy of his works there and saw the truck parked on the other side of the bridge. So most likely up top at the public parking area. And he said it was the same vehicle, the older looking vehicle, the fishing looking vehicle, the older model car, older vehicle, quote unquote. Thank you, Francis. I feel Klein put this piece of shit position. I mean, it's possible. We're going to close out with just some random videos, and we can start with that one. Might as well. We got about 15, 20 minutes here.
Motion detected in the front yard.
could be a possible new development in the unsolved murders of 2 Delphi, Indiana teens. Authorities seen combing this riverbed.
What we're hearing from sources indicates that this is connected.
The hosts of the true crime podcast, The Murder Sheet, taking these photographs of investigators scouring the Wabash River about 40 miles from where 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German were found dead 5 years ago.
Good to see you perfectly imperfect. Says, I believe he was extremely surprised that he had gotten away with it. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that could really explain is either that it was just a bad idea. Like, oh, I'll park at the CPS building. Nobody will see me. So who knows? Maybe he like completely went a different way to where nobody did see him. Or he didn't expect, he thought maybe he would get caught and he would have to run, flee from police. Suicide mission or something,
Tips since their murder in 2017, their killer still at large. Libby capturing this grainy Snapchat authorities believe shows their killer, along with this chilling recording thought to be his voice. Indiana State Police would only confirm they have a dive team in the area, but the podcasters say it's located just a few miles from the family home of this man, 28-year-old Keegan Klein, who was arrested 2 years ago.
French says, my theory is that somebody with access to LG social accounts lured the known pedos, Kleins and Allen, to the bridge to frame them for the murders, catfishing the catfishers. I mean, that sounds like a horror movie or a Hollywood thriller. I hope that's not the case.
In charge with child pornography and child exploitation in a separate case to which he's pleaded not guilty. According to authorities, Klein admitted to using a phony social media account with the handle Anthony_shots to communicate with minors.
He created a completely false persona for himself. And we know that the Anthony Shots account was actually in communication with Liberty German, who was one of the victims in this case.
Klein has denied any involvement in the murders. Just days before the podcast hosts say that river search began, a court document obtained by ABC News shows that Klein was temporarily moved from the custody of his local authorities to the hands of Indiana State Police, the lead investigators in the murders of Abby and Libby. The podcast hosts say it's unclear what officers were looking for in that river.
A lot of technology comes up in this case of device.
Okay, I want to ask you guys here live on the air. Do you think it was a coincidence that after they went and searched the Wabash River, shortly after they're serving a search warrant with over at Richard Allen in Delphi? Do you think that was a coincidence, or was it connected? 1, it was a coincidence. Type of 2, if it was connected.
Devices that are being used to store child sexual abuse materials or communications with underage girls. And then, of course, weaponry that could have been used in the Delphi murders and any other evidence that could tie a killer to the scene or of the crime, essentially.
And investigators would not say what exactly they were looking for in that riverbed, nor how it may be possibly connected to the Delphi case. Alex Perez, ABC News, Chicago.
Families and friends of those 2 girls slain on a hike, and they're coming together for the first time to speak about their anguish.
It's like I had open heart surgery, but they never used any anesthetic. And they say, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to live this way, with part of your heart missing the rest of your life.
The families tell me they have faith that the man responsible for the murders will face justice. His voice was captured by the girls on a cell phone.
We're going to get him. We're willing to wait. We're willing to wait as long as it takes.
13-year-old Abigail Williams and her best friend Libby German went missing after setting out on this hiking trail in Indiana. Their bodies were found the next day in the woods. I sat down with the families at Libby's home where they had gathered. The walls were adorned with tributes to the 2 teens gone too soon.
What do you miss most about the girls?
An easier question is, what don't you miss? That one's easy.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Abigail's mother, Anna, told me a recent dance at the school the girls attended brought home the heartache.
Part of me wanted to go to the school and see all the girls in pretty dresses and give them all hugs. But I knew how hard it was going to be to not have our babies there.
In February, after the girls were found dead about a quarter of a mile from this bridge, tens of thousands of tips from the public came pouring in to help catch the murderer. Law enforcement here in Carroll County, Indiana, are still chasing down leads every day, but the killer remains on the loose.
There's somebody out there running around, a murderer.
This just-released composite sketch of a suspect is raising hope.
It actually gives a better view of the person in the picture that you see down below.
What's up, girls?
Cops say he's white, between 5'6" and 5'10", weighs 180 to 220 pounds, and has reddish-brown hair. Despite their sorrow, the family still have moments of laughter,
Ryan.
sharing
I really hope
memories
so.
of their girls.
Abigail had a real sweet tooth. She really liked candy, and she liked her candy, and she liked everybody else's candy.
We haven't messed with Libby's room much at all, other than going up there and cleaning up all the candy wrappers.
Yeah.
We got a whole trash can full of candy wrappers. So
Another shared
interest.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Grief, however, is what unites these two families now and forever.
There's a hole in our families and in our hearts that'll never be repaired.
All right, guys, we're going to start closing her out. Probably hang out in the chat here another maybe 4 to 5 minutes, okay? Hey, what's up, Jamie? Hey, good to see you, kid. Yeah, guys. I use guys a lot. Just call everybody guys. Thanks, Marlo. Have a great rest of your day as well. Hey, Susan. Shout out to the replay group, replay crew. Sorry, I missed you. Coming soon to t-shirts near you. Thanks, Jamie. It's not my music. This song, I'll give you the title right now. So it's by, I think it's called X-Stex. Title is Ronin. The artist is spelled E-X-E-T-E-X-E. And the name of the instrumental is Ronin. Yeah, these are the types of beats that I really like. Yeah, welcome back. I have Apophis. Good to see you. E-X-E. Hey, welcome, Jamie. This one's called Keggin on Ice. I hope they're keeping him on ice. Yeah, welcome to members, Jamie. We're going members live on the Idaho murders probably tomorrow. Good to see you as always, Boston. You're on Rewind Crew. All right, guys, I want to thank you for participating in the chat. Once again, shout out to the replay crew. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a safe day.